Happy game day and welcome back to the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, welcome back to the Purple Rain podcast, episode 279. I'll go through it. The Larry Webster episode, Willie Anderson, Tony Ma, Tony Peixos, Ronnie Stanley episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for spending your Monday evening with us. About an hour and 30 away from game time. Inactives were just released, so I can't wait to get through them real quick. But first and foremost, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. Follow this guy over here on Instagram, on X at SunnyDef. Follow me on Instagram at simply as10prod, and on X at simply as10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. The best deal on the internet. It is, it says here, 30 days until Christmas. Unbelievable. Thursday's Thanksgiving, so we're around that time. But thank you all for coming through on this Monday evening. We do play the Chargers very, very soon. A big game coming off of an L that still stings a little bit. But, son, you had a busy week. So what's for us? How are you doing? How was the move? Look like you're settling in well. You're glowing.
I appreciate that. I am doing well. The move is going great, as you guys know, or as you might not know. I moved from Maryland to Houston last week, and I'm here now. I'm settling in pretty nicely, as you can see. I've kind of got a little bit of a studio setup going on right here. It's not finished yet, right? I got some audio equipment on the way, and some more lighting stuff going on. So it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress, but to say the least, I am doing really, really well. I'm very happy. My heart is full. I'm not happy that the Ravens are coming off of a loss to the Steelers. That one was a heartbreaker. I'm not gonna lie to you there. Just losing on a 2-point conversion, like on a final play against the Steelers, it just seems to be like a common theme that the Ravens have against the Steelers in this Lamar Jackson era. It just doesn't make sense to me. It comes down to the final play. We have a chance to win it, and we just can't come up with it. So, uh, you know, other than that, I'm doing really well. My guy Josh in the comments here says Steelers made y'all wait a whole week. Hey man, listen, man. Not a whole. It's not even like that. It's not even like that. It's not like that. It's just I had to take a little hiatus. I had a lot going on last week. Definitely would have went live. Definitely would have made some videos, but had a lot going on. But we are back for episode 279 and counting of the Purple Rain podcast. So shout out to all you guys who've been holding it down since we've been gone. But listen, we are back. So let us know you are here with us in the comment section if you're watching live right now. If you're not watching live, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. Hello. Thank you so much for joining this episode of the show. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. It helps us out a ton, guys. You don't even understand. It helps us out so much when you subscribe and you like the video. We got some mods in the house. We got Mod K Dog in here. Says Steelers got 6 field goals to hang their hats on to them lose to the Browns. Yeah, they did just lose to the Browns. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They just lost to the Browns. That was actually music to my ears. But it really doesn't make sense how the Steelers did not really score much at all in that game and yet still managed to come away with a victory. It's just classic Ravens Steelers stuff, right?
Yeah.
We got Dre in the house. What's going on, Dre? Says, what's up, Purple Rain Gang? We got another mod. What's going on, Dre? We got another mod in the house. Not We got Mod Roosh. Mod Roosh says, what's good? What's going on, Roosh? Appreciate you for coming through. We are back. Quincy is in the house. Says, hey, fellas. We got Jessica Bass says, Rain Gang. What's going on, Jessica? Big love, big love. Chike's in the house as I'm here, and I'm going 28-24 Ravens tonight. Okay, Chike, we're gonna get into that, all into that. Yeah, let's not even mince any words. Listen, we're what, an hour and some change away from kickoff here, so we got to get to talking some ball, right? Alex, you just said the inactives came out for this game, Ravens versus Chargers. Who's playing? Who's not? Let us know.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through Rasheen Ali, Sanusi Kane, Nick Samak, Arthur Millette, David Ajabo, and Roquan Smith are all inactive, will not be playing, and honestly kind of expected Roquan not to play. Tried to test it out before the game. Very long workout. Not going to happen tonight, and that does not bode well because I have absolutely zero faith in our linebackers. I have some faith in Trenton Simpson. Chris Board and Malik Harrison, not so much. Malik Harrison, I trust him as edge rusher. not his linebackers. So let's hope that we can utilize Kyle Hamilton, in the box tonight. And they have Will Dissly, who has been shown out for them, the Chargers, and I think they're going to pick on that middle of the field on us, and we really have to do a good job of holding it down. Because if not, it will get scary out there. I saw when Wilco went down last week, Darnell Washington ate us up over the middle, had that one big catch. Can't be having that again. So the inactive's not looking too hot for us, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can definitely agree there. But what I will say is I'm surprised that we did not see Travis Jones, defensive tackle, also inactive. That is big. It is absolutely huge that he is going to start in this game. I don't know exactly what percentage of snaps he's going to play. I'd assume that they would kind of play him sparingly. But in stopping the run, he is going to be so, so important. He's going to be a force as he has been all season. We know what this offense wants to do, right? And we'll get into our keys to victory in a little bit. But we know that this is a Greg Roman led offense, right? They're a run first offense. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards heavy. J.K. Dobbins is arguably one of the comeback players of the year, if not the comeback player of the year. And I think that all things considered, right? Number one, he's the hot hand. Number two, he used to play in Baltimore. Number three, Jim Harbaugh is his coach, and he knows that he used to play in Baltimore, and he knows he's going to want to try to get him involved in this game tonight, especially at home in front of the home crowd at SoFi. I think it's going to be a lot of carries, a lot of opportunity for J.K. Dobbins. And if we can have a Travis Jones, Matty BK kind of plugging up the middle, not allowing him to kind of get off, I think that that's going to bode very, very well for our chances to win this game. Again, we're going to get into the keys to victory in a little bit, but that is one thing that I'm really looking at in this game. Now that you mentioned it, Travis Jones is going to play. Don't know exactly how much he is going to play, but that's going to be huge. When it comes to the linebackers, like you mentioned, Roquan Smith being out is big. Roquan being out is big because Malik Harrison has not been good at all, really, this season. Not in coverage, especially not in space. In space he's been absolutely terrible. Let's not even mince words. I mean, he can't tackle anything out in space right now. He just looks too slow, too cumbersome out there. So hopefully he can kind of I really don't know. According to Zach Orr, is going to be like a linebacker by committee sort of job. Like so you mentioned, Chris Board is going to get rotated in there as needed and things like that. But if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I'm going to Justin Herbert and saying, "Hey, look, we're picking on the middle of the field all night." You mentioned a Will Disley, right? It, that's all. That's the game plan. If I'm Harbaugh and Herbert tonight, go over the middle and run the ball, maybe to the outsides. That's the game plan. But we'll get to more of that in just a little bit here. DWAS starting off with our first super chat donation. Thank you so much, DWAS, for the super chat donation. Says Carl Sheffers is the ref. I am at the game. Oh yeah, I saw a story. I saw a story. He was in
Yes.
Inglewood, California. DWAS is at the game. So yeah, you're gonna be representing, man. Shout out to DWAS, man. Make sure you get loud and you're proud with it for our Ravens team, man.
Yeah, yeah, and you bring up Carl Sheffers. Actually, have a little bit of some stats on him. His crew caused the least amount of penalties in the NFL. They do call a ton of defensive pass interference and holding, very little on the offensive side. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on that. Brandon Stevens, let's keep our hands to ourselves. Nate Wiggins too. He gets a little handsy out there for a rookie. They won't be scared to throw those yellow penalties on the field tonight. But yes, D-Was, please bring us home a W. Nothing less than that. We really need this one, and it'd be big. For me, I'm looking at this. Got to win this game because I don't like losing any game. But you win this game, and let's say you drop to the Eagles next week. In terms of the playoff picture, losing to an NFC team isn't the worst thing in the world, compared to losing to an AFC team. But want to win both. But if we can win tonight, that does a lot for this season, and especially bouncing off of the L last week, and just beating up on the Chargers. I do. To me, this feels like a division game or like a rivalry game because the whole Harbaugh stuff. But the amount of ex Ravens on there, and just the amount of ex Raven personnel, it's a little weird. I saw Gus Edwards refer to it as a revenge game. I don't understand that concept whatsoever. I don't. It's just hard for me to kind of grasp it because we gave you a chance, had a second contract here. Unfortunately, things went the other way. You go two different ways, and that's how it goes. And then for me, I would love to just shut out a Greg Roman offense. I would love to embarrass Roman and Harbaugh because what we had to sit through with Greg Roman, especially the 2022 year, not putting up 17 points for how many straight games. I would love to just kind of put the foot on the throat. And I'm kind of looking at our coaches now. I want to see a bit of fight. I didn't see that last week with the Steelers. I saw us get kind of bitch, to be honest. Yeah, there was no fight there. I want to see that fight
Yeah, I
tonight.
agree.
Yeah, and I want to see us be the physical team, but the smart team as well. So please, Ravens, don't embarrass us, and please play your ball and go and win this damn game against the West Coast Ravens.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Let me see. We got Oscar Lilienthal in the house. Says, "What's going on, y'all? I think tonight is a must win." I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree. 100%. I mean, in conference game, we know it's not in the division, but in terms of seeding and everything like that, like my guy Alex just mentioned, this game is big. It feels like a divisional game. It feels like one of those. So, especially considering we dropped one of the Steelers last week, we don't want to go on a slide. We don't want to go on a slide, especially with the Eagles coming to town next week. That's going to be a tough one. I saw somebody else mention something in here. Dre, my guy Dre, shout out to him, says, I would rather have Rowe for the Eagles game. Yeah, I mean, that rushing attack for the Eagles is no joke as well. I mean, we saw what Saquon Barkley was able to do last night, putting up 255 yards on the ground and over 300 yards of total offense. I mean, that dude is absolutely ridiculous. It's literally him it's literally him and then Derrick Henry for Offensive Player of the Year right now,
yeah.
if you ask me. Depending on what Derrick Henry does tonight under the lights, he has a chance to kind of keep pace with Saquon Barkley at least. I don't think he can eclipse him because I don't think he's going to get 300 yards total, 300 total yards of offense, but he can definitely keep pace with him if he has a really good game tonight. But I agree with you, Dre. I would rather have Rowe for that Eagles game. I think it's going to be very, very important in stopping that run game for sure, for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and get into some keys to victory now that we've gotten through the inactives. This is our first keys to victory segment in a couple of weeks. Like I said, we've been on a slight little hiatus because I was moving. That is my apologies, but we are back here. We are back, and I can't wait to talk about this game and what the Ravens really need to do to get back in the win column after dropping last week's game against the Steelers. That was just
Yeah.
again, I won't get too much into it. Frustrating to say the least. But I'm going to start with my first key to victory here, Alex, and it kind of goes with something that you said just now. You mentioned John Harbaugh and the coaching and how we kind of need to put our foot on their necks, right? Keep the pedal to the metal. I agree with that 1000%. I think that when you look at the circumstances of this game, Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman showing up to not, facing off against John Harbaugh. If you're John Harbaugh, you have to be thinking, okay, like this is my little brother, right? We're fighting for seeding and like placement. We're not one seed. We're not even two seed right now. We're not even fighting for that. We're fighting for to get in the playoffs, right? That's what we're fighting for right now. Um, I'm not gonna let my little brother take my old offensive coordinator, who I got rid of, and come in here and bully me. No, this needs to be a cutthroat game plan. I don't care. Like I'm talking like fourth and twos, be aggressive. Fourth and three or shorter, be aggressive beyond our own 40-yard line, be aggressive. Aggression is going to be the name of the game in this one because I guarantee you, when Justin Herbert and that Chargers offense wants to go over the middle of the field or they want to go to the outside, they're going to be able to. We're banged up. We're banged up. It's gonna happen. I'm sorry. I got Lad McConkey tonight going over 67.5 yards. That's his line for the night. I got him going over. I'm sorry, I just do. So I think on offense, we can ill afford to have a snooze fest. We just can't. Like how the offense wasn't really waking up last week. We can't afford that this week. I mean, Lamar Jackson unfortunately has to play damn near perfect in order for this team to be like real contenders right now. The defense played well against the Steelers. Yes, I agree. But I think a lot of that has to do with just how naturally ugly and low scoring those games tend to be. I think in this one, I think you see Justin Herbert airing it out a little bit more on third downs. I think that you see J.K. Dobbins maybe break off a run or two. And the offense is going to have to respond. Quite simple as that. And I think that that's going to have to come from the aggression of the coaching on the offense. Todd Monken and John Harbaugh, there needs to be a masterclass tonight. That's going to be my first key to victory. But Alex, I want to toss it to you. I want to know what's your biggest key to victory for the Ravens to walk away with a W tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick pretty simple. It's just that run game that we unfortunately got away from. It felt like, and I saw a stat how they lightly load the box with the Chargers defense. That is, and people were raving about their defense, and I get they were up there with the top three. I think some people as had them as the number one defense, but that game I watched last week, they did go up on the Bengals, but I saw Chase Brown have 86 yards rushing. This is no disrespect to Chase Brown. Derrick Henry is a different monster, and I would love to see him break one, hold onto that ball, and kind of just stick with it because we know what he can do. And kind of just like, once again, put your foot on their throats. Be the more aggressive team. be like, yeah, we have Derrick Henry. We're gonna run it, and we're gonna run it, and we're gonna still get 5-10 yards a clip. This is a good defense, but I do. This is a game where I feel like we can really make a good team look elementary, and wouldn't make me any happier. Just doing Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman. Not the biggest Jim fan, I'll be honest with you, and not the biggest Roman fan either. So I would love to see John, like you said, little bro him, literally and figuratively, little bro him. Do what you did in that Super Bowl, go out to that big lead, and things happened in that game. We know why, but it would have been a lot worse. But do the same thing, go out there, go on that big lead, and hold on to it, and do it by running the ball. Last week people talked about Derrick Henry didn't have any carries in the fourth. I understand why he didn't. We had 2 drives. One of them was a pick, and the other one he had to go down the field with very little time. But for this one, my second one is controlling the time of possession. Keep this defense off the field as much as we can, especially with Roquan out. I don't want to see Herbert dotting us up. I don't want it to be a Ravens Bengals part 2 where it looks like it's 7-on-7 practice and there's just nobody out there rushing the quarterback and he just has all time to throw and just dotting us up. So that's my 1 and my 2. The second one is keeping the time possession. The more the offense is on the field, the better. Just keep that defense off the field, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I got a super chat donation here from Oscar Lilienthal. Says, "What's up, y'all? The connection seems to be very choppy." Oh,
Ooh,
I haven't seen the stream. I don't know if you guys let me know if you guys are
yeah,
experiencing the same thing. If so, we will try to reconvene and try to
yeah.
make it a little bit better here. But we are live right now, so not too much we can do about it at the moment. Okay, but listen, here's the thing. Thank you so much, Oscar Lilienthal. You brought up something about time of possession, and Madru says it seems fine to him. Okay.
Cool.
Uh, Time of possession between these two teams is very, very close. So the Ravens actually rank 15th in the league in time of possession, averaging 30 minutes and 34 seconds of possession per game. And the LA Chargers are 14th in the league, and they average 30 minutes and 42 seconds time of possession per game. So this is literally going to be a game of like tug of war in terms of like who can get the ball. So what does that mean? Turnovers. The turnover battle is absolutely going to be indicative of who wins this game. Whoever wins the turnover battle, and I'm not speaking the gospel here. Everybody kind of knows this, but like especially in a game like this where both teams like to hold the ball, both teams like to run the ball. Time of possession is going to be crucial. I love that you just brought that up. And turnovers are going to be absolutely crucial. I'm looking at the secondary. I know that the Chargers are a run first team, but on those third downs, we're going to have to make a play. I'm looking at a Marlon Humphrey. I'm looking at a Nate Wiggins. I'm looking at a Kyle Hamilton. Somebody's got to step up, turn the ball over, put the ball back in Lamar Jackson's hands, and give us the opportunity to get a leg up on this LA Chargers team. Otherwise, it's going to be back and forth. I think kind of like a slugfest all night, and it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. Who can come up with a spectacular play first, right?
Yeah, it is. And we do need one of our corners to really step up and like to make that play, get that pick, or force that fumble, or one of our edge rushers get to Herbert and strip sack him away. You get there, you get there, but we want to see you go after that ball more. Kind of what the elites do, like a Miles Garrett does that we saw on Thursday night. I've seen TJ Watt do so many times. Get to that ball and force that fumble, and who knows, what could happen, what a Max Crosby does. So yeah, you're right there. Like we haven't had nowhere near enough turnovers for my liking, but that's just kind of been how the defense is, unfortunately. Last week, I thought Russ kind of just gave us one. I have no idea why he threw that pass in the back of the end zone. He's too good of a quarterback, and you're a vet. To make that play to kind of just throw a lob like that was just ill advised, and we got lucky there. But for a guy like Herbert, he will throw some, but I just want us to come down with him. And like I said, we've had nowhere near enough turnovers for my liking. Zach Orr, DMPs, the bend don't break was fully in effect last week with 6 field goals, but I need to see more and more stops and just more of last week's defense, but just keep them out the red zone this time. So that's kind of like my third one too, is the defense not even bending at this point. Just staying straight and applying pressure. And it's kind of leads me to the whole Ajabo stuff with him being inactive again. I get more and more disappointed every time he's a healthy scratch. It is very, very disappointing that we had high hopes for a second round pick and it's come to this where he's not even good enough to play. We're playing Adisa Isaac over him who made a play last week. Let's be honest, he made a play, and Ojabo hasn't really made a play since week 1 or week 2.
Yeah, and you make a good point there. It is extremely disheartening to hear that week after week, this guy David Ajabo is a healthy scratch, and not only just because he's a healthy scratch, but because that's a premium position, Alex, edge rusher, right? Like if you got edge rusher or wide receiver or offensive lineman who in his second or third season he's not playing at all. Not only is he not starting, he's not even suiting up. That is an absolute issue, man. And I think that, EDC and those guys need to go back to the drawing board quite literally and come up with something. Something. I don't know if we need to actually spend our money on a premier edge rusher at this point, like we've been doing the past couple of seasons, or we need to bring some other scouts in house to get like maybe a different opinion on the guys we're bringing in. But it's just absolutely, it's insane to me the fact that we cannot develop an edge rusher to be like a game wrecking guy, right? Like this is the AFC North. You damn near have to have one of those guys in order to be successful in this division. And we're doing it just off of the sheer willpower of Lamar Jackson and this offense, right? Imagine if we had a premier edge rusher. If there was a TJ Watt, a Miles Garrett, a Max Crosby on this team, I don't even think we have half of the losses that we have right now. I'm just being completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Just being completely honest. 86 people watching live from the Purple Rain Podcast,
Hey,
episode 279. Thank you so much for joining this episode of the show. I want you guys to drop your keys to victory down below in the comment section, the chat section on X, wherever you're watching at live right now. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure you join the show and weigh in with us here. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Thea Pino the fourth says, "What about winning some challenges and not wasting timeouts?" Alex, what do you got to say about that?
I can't agree more. It feels like he just throws that red flag to throw it. We waste our timeouts over very dumb stuff. And I just want to circle back to Ajabo. It's funny. It's funny because he went to Michigan, coached by Jim Harbaugh. And now, you were this great player there under Mike McDonald and Jim Harbaugh. Now you're healthy scratch against Jim Harbaugh. The Big Ten edge rushers, maybe it's time to get away from this conference and go to a different conference and pick them. The Big Ten has not been nice to us regarding edge rushers, unfortunately. I don't know what it is. Other teams can do it right. Obviously, Parsons, Hellshot Robinson, he's looked all right for the Dolphins. But us, maybe it's just not going to happen. But back to the challenges and timeouts. Yeah, it's just stupid stuff like that. Like I want to see better coaching, and it just feels like when the coaching is bad, so is the play on the field. It just goes hand in hand. So keeping our timeouts, yeah, and just being on time, on schedule, and being organized, which feels like we haven't. Like on the 2-point conversion play, we weren't organized, and that's what Nelson Aguilar is telling Isaiah Likely where he should be. And one person misses the block, and there's your play, and there's your game. Who knows if we would have won the game, won overtime, or they would have driven down. And Boswell, who was on a heater last week, kicked another field goal. But it's just stuff like that. Like it all stems down from coaching. Being disorganized there is obviously the players going to see it, and it happens on the field. Got to play a damn perfect game in the NFL. Professionals for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw a lot of talk after the Steelers lost last week, as after every Ravens loss. People kind of calling for John Harbaugh, and saying this and that. Harbaugh needs to go. And the reality of it is, as we all know, Harbs is not going anywhere, right? All we can really do is hope that we peak at the right time, and kind of this offense and this defense is firing on all cylinders, because we see it time and time again that there really isn't any sort of like real, like I was mentioning earlier, like cutthroat attribute with John Harbaugh, especially at this point in his career, man. Like I just don't really see it. Like he doesn't have those guys coming out there with an edge. I'm used to the Ravens, especially on defense, coming out there with an edge, playing with an edge, and we really just don't see that. We see like kind of confusion, just lack of
Yeah.
preparedness, and it shows up all over the field. And I don't want it to show up tonight, and I'm afraid that it'll show up in the red zone again. That is something that I just can't we can't have happen on offense or defense, to be honest with you. I'll shift to the offense here. I think that again, Lamar Jackson's going to have to play a damn near perfect game, but I also want to see, as you mentioned earlier, we have to do this by running the football. Derrick Henry has to get his touches in this one. They have to feel Derrick Henry in this game. I do not care. I also think that we should get Justice Hill more involved as well, kind of making them cover all areas of the field. I think we should get Justice Hill more involved in the passing game. That's going to be another one of my keys to victory as well. Kind of get him out in space. And I know he had the interception that he kind of gave away last week, but listen, Justice Hill is still a dude in my eyes. He is an absolute baller, a stud, one of the most underrated guys in this league, especially running backs. So I think that we continue to get him the football, right? And like I said, again, Derrick Henry continue to kind of work in Keaton Mitchell here and there, right? But running the football is going to be the way in this one. I also think Lamar Jackson with his legs, I think is going to be a big one too. And let me stop here, Alex, because I was watching that Steelers game last week. And let me say this about Lamar Jackson. Here's a little bit of criticism for Lamar Jackson. If you have the rush lane, just run the damn ball. That's all I ask from you, Lamar. I don't really heap any sort of criticism on you ever, right? I always give you the benefit of the doubt. I always defend you, Lamar. But I need you. I need you. I need you. If you see 8 to 10 yards of green grass available for you, if you see a first down readily available for you, take it. Just take it. Because it just doesn't make any sense to try to force yourself to like stop trying to be Patrick Mahomes. You're not Patrick Mahomes. You don't have to be Patrick Mahomes. Honestly, if you ask me, you're more skilled. You have more tools in the toolbox than Patrick Mahomes does. Use some of those other tools. I don't care what the media says. I don't care if they call you a running back. I don't. Get the first down and keep it pushing. There were multiple times last week where I felt like Lamar Jackson could have gotten out of the pocket like he normally would and scrambled for a first down, but he just didn't. So I don't know. It was confusing to me, but did you see that same thing?
You don't know because you're 100% right, and I 100% agree with you. And that's I feel like he allows the Nick Wrights in the world. I hate bringing him up because he is the most. I think he's the biggest hater out there. It's very obvious. Who he goes after is whoever is Patrick Mahomes' biggest threat. Years prior was Josh Allen. This year it's obviously Lamar Jackson. And he hears that, and he hears the critics, and it says the Stephen A. Smiths that just flip flop every week. The Mad Dog Russos. He deserves the quotes because I'll be honest with you, I don't understand how he has a job on ESPN making the comments he does, but it gains clicks, it gains revenue. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And guess what? It's making dollars, so it makes sense. But it's just kind of hearing it in the back of your head. You want to prove everybody. I'll be honest, the way we win a Super Bowl, unfortunately, is him doing it both arm and leg through the air and the ground because last year, there were plays I thought against the Chiefs where he could have taken off and he didn't. And there were some plays, in the air didn't work. So take what they give you. Same thing with the screens. The screens, he's been taking what he gives them. Take it with your legs. And I see with the Chiefs, Mahomes, he took it yesterday. And I'm glad we brought him up because I'll be honest, I have my purple glasses right now. I don't see a team in the AFC right now, which is wow, they're going to the Super Bowl. I don't see the powerhouse. I genuinely am not convinced by any team, including the Ravens in the AFC. I wanted to say the Bills after beating the Chiefs, but it's we saw what we did to them in week 4. And, I'm looking forward to see what they do in the coming weeks. And the Chiefs, you haven't had a convincing win all year. I think all the games they won are by one score. So I'm the Ravens, if there's any time to try to win this goddamn conference, it's now. You got to get your shit together. We are November 25th. It's almost Thanksgiving, and we have no identity on defense. We've played one complete game all year. That was week 4. We were still wearing shorts back then. It is now 30 degrees outside. We have not had a complete game since we were wearing shorts outside. I'm waiting to see it. Take this conference by the throat and just run away with it, which we probably won't. But yeah, Lamar, play your game. You're the best quarterback in the league. Just do what you do, and the trophy will come. So I agree with you 100%. Yeah, take what they give.
Yeah. Shout out to our guy RTV says he's at the game. Go Ravens flock. Yes, sir. Make sure you bring that dub home, man. Bring that dub home. Let me see that. We got the boy Zay Diaz. Official vertical says we need to win this game no matter what. The week stretch is coming up, but we keep losing. Not gonna lie, Eagles probably the only tough game left. Yeah. What is the rest of our schedule looking like? Can you run through it really quick, Alex?
We got the Chargers, Eagles, Steelers, Texans, Browns, I believe. Texans right now do not look like a well-rounded football team. Don't know what's going on with CJ Stroud. Had that bad loss yesterday. Steelers are going to give us hell. I hope the Browns game doesn't matter. I hope we have the division wrapped up. Who knows? Every game to me is tough on the way. There's no gimme. Oscar says the Broncos game. Yeah, that was a complete game. I'll give him that. The Broncos was a complete game, but even
I
then,
don't even know if that was a
it
complete
was
game. That was Bo Nix was still kind of doing what he wanted to do, especially early in the game.
yeah, he was. Like it was. We got lucky that Sean Payton went for all those fourth downs, and we stopped him. Like if you just kicked the field goal a couple of times, I think it would have been a closer game. But I'm not complaining. Blow him out. But you just gotta. I just need to see more. It's like, and that's including us. Like I think you can call us frauds because what Ravens are going to show up tonight?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and that's coming from
Honestly,
Ravens fans.
that's so true. We don't even
We'll
have the purple
either
glasses on right now. Yeah.
yeah, we'll either win this game by 10, 15, or we'll lose because the defense just blew another lead or we had a dumb play call and it didn't work out on offense. So it's hard to even predict Ravens games. Now it's very hard.
Yeah. It's really just when you talk about the consistency of the two sides of the football, the offense has been way more consistent than the defense has been, right? And it's kind of like we're playing like a game of whack-a-mole with these two sides of the football, right? Like as soon as the offense is not playing well, oh, now all of a sudden the defense is playing well. And then when the defense isn't playing well for like 4 or 5 game stretch at a time, the offense is just looking phenomenal. And it's just we can't get both at the same time. We can't have the best of both worlds. We can't have our cake and eat it too, as they would say. As we have over 100 people watching live, thank you so much for joining this episode of the show. This is the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 279, right here, where we cover Ravens content. Haven't been here the past couple of weeks, but we are back and here to stay and locked in for this game. And guess what? Actually, I will be live after the game, after the Chargers game. I'll
Okay.
be live streaming, so make sure you come through, say what's up. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be a good time. Win, lose, or draw, it's gonna be a good time. My guy Mod Rouge says, like the video. Absolutely, man. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We would greatly appreciate that. We have episodes on every Monday and Thursday. That's right, every Monday and Thursday and shorts throughout the week. And plus more content coming soon as I am now all moved in here to my new home in Texas, and I'm settling in very, very nicely. And I plan on putting a lot more content out for sure. And this channel is gonna be going up. So make sure you stay tuned. Okay. So we've talked about our keys to victory. We've talked about the inactives. I think it's time for us to get into our score predictions
It
for
is.
this game, Alex. Who do you think is going to win this game, and what do you think the final score is going to be?
All right. I think this team. I think that game last week set something off. I hope it did. I have us winning 31-21. I think this team is better than the Chargers when it's all said and done. It's just when we execute and when we play three phases of football. That's what I'm looking at, and I think we do. I hope John looks at himself in the mirror. I don't care if it's his family. He's not paying you. Um, we're paying you. And right now, they know they're not going to win their division. Let's just be real. They're not winning the AFC West. We have a chance to win the AFC North. Your biggest rival just lost on Thursday night. If you cannot take advantage of this opportunity right now, when will you? So, give me the Ravens 31-21 to have a race for the AFC North title.
Okay. I like that. I like that. I mean, two possession win. I would love to see it happen. I really would. That a two possession win right now would really, really be a statement in a way.
Mhm.
And honestly, I just don't think that the Ravens are going to do that tonight. I think that the Ravens will win. I do think that they're going to win, but I think it's going to be much closer. I think it's going to be 26-23 final in overtime.
Oh,
In overtime.
oh my
I think
gosh.
that second possession, Justin Tucker, or no, first possession, Justin Tucker comes down in overtime, kicks a field goal, Chargers get the ball, they can't score. I think that that's what happens. 26-23, final in overtime. I think it's going to be very, very dramatic, as the NFL would want it to be in a Harbaugh, right? Jim Harbaugh versus John Harbaugh for the first time in a long time, right? And it's just, I can totally see it being a very, very close game. The Los Angeles Chargers give up the least points per game in the league at about 14 and a half points a game. I don't think that's by accident at all. And plus, they have a really good run game. They do what we want to be able to do consistently. They run the ball well and they play good defense. That's the Ravens' kind of like original identity. Run the football, play defense. Now we've kind of shifted and evolved into this, like hybrid rushing slash explosive passing attack team. And then, the defense is just kind of second rate, even though we dump a bunch of money into it. We're just different now.
Yeah.
But we still do a really good job at stopping the run, and we're really good at running the football. So I think that it's going to be it's gonna be a very interesting game. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a little bit slower, lower scoring, but towards the end, I think it picks up a little bit. 26-23 final is going to be my prediction in overtime, of course. Let me see what you guys are saying down here. Darth Vader says, I agree, the team is not balanced. The offense is good, the defense sucks, and vice versa. Yeah, exactly, man. We need to get on the same page, man. Firing on all cylinders. Darth Vader also says Deontay Johnson needs more targets. What do you think? What is your assessment, Alex, of Deontay Johnson and his kind of role with the Ravens so far?
It makes no sense. I see other teams, trade for a receiver, like the Chiefs with Hopkins, and they kind of throw him in the fire, use him immediately. It feels like we force fed him last week. Some of the throws, I don't know. Some of the deep balls didn't make sense. Like I like him more in the 5 yard. A nice route. He gets open, great separation, takes up the field for some
Mm,
yak. I feel like we're utilizing him the wrong way. Bait can be intermediate. Zay can hit a little deeper, and you have Deontay Johnson kind of shorter, and we know he can make some moves, make something happen. So I want to see him get a couple of catches tonight, but just don't force feed him those deep ball targets. I'm not like that at all. I do want to say something about the Chargers though. Like the offense
okay.
they've played, I think I have to take it with a grain of salt. I'm not discrediting their defense, but we played the Bengals last week, held them down. The Bengals kind of stormed on back, put up 27 points. I want us to be the Ravens game where it's like everybody thinks like it's gonna be a close game, we just run away with it. Like I want to see that type of Ravens performance again. I want to see, like you said, the foot on the throat. I could see that happening because we have Lamar Jackson as Monday Night Football, and last time we played on Monday Night Football, guess what he did? Guess what he did? I think 4 years ago to the day, or 5 years ago to the day.
Yeah,
Five
five
touchdowns against
touchdowns,
LA.
Jackson 5 in LA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I can see it again. I really hope it's true. But I had to sit back there, but I want to see how good this Chargers defense is when they come against us. So I want to make a statement because a win here,
Okay.
big win against this defense, not calling them frauds, not calling them frauds, but just have a little bit of animosity for Jim and Greg. So mainly Greg, mainly Greg.
Mm, okay.
I didn't forget the
Fair enough.
vault.
Fair enough.
We didn't forget the vault. We didn't forget that.
We did not. We did
Forging a new
not. Yeah, we're
identity.
gonna see.
Didn't forget that.
Yeah, we're gonna see what he has in the vault tonight against the Ravens, against his old team, because of course, this team knows that coordinator very well, and vice versa. So it's gonna be very, very interesting those first couple of possessions to see what kind of game plan the Chargers offense wants to run against the Ravens defense. Very, very interesting. Let's see you guys score predictions. Dre says 30-19 Ravens. Okay, it's 11.2 possession game. We got that boy Zay Diaz official says Ravens 34-31. Okay, so you're predicting a 3-point victory just like myself. We got Chris Grammer in the house says 34-16, three turnovers. So Chris, are you going for the Ravens or are you going for the Chargers there? Let us know.
Mm.
But I do agree. Again, these turnovers, we have to, we have to. I cannot express this enough. Whichever team wins the turnover battle will win this game. It's not rocket science. Again, I'm not speaking the gospel. I'm not telling you anything you've never heard before. But this game more than ever, just because both of these teams are razor close, literally ranked 14th and ranked 15th in time of possession. Both the teams need the ball. Both the teams need the ball very, very badly. So ball security is going to be very, very important. Derrick Henry had a fumble last season, his first one of the year, his first one in a couple years, I want to say. Doesn't happen all that much, so I can't really fault him too much. It just sucks that it had to come in a game against the Steelers, right? Derrick Henry gets ripped, Justice Hill gets ripped, Isaiah Likely gets ripped. It's just it was not. That's the reason we lost that game. We kind of got bullied. We got
Can
bullied.
we? What
Go
was
ahead.
that Isaiah Likely play call? Why would you call that? Run the damn ball out, get to halftime. We
Yeah,
weren't midfield. We were backed up at our own end zone. I still don't understand that. I
sick
want
catch
make
by Likely though.
Yeah, but just make sense of it. Just run the ball, get us into halftime. I think have timeouts, but I just don't get throwing it there, especially the screenplay. And I don't know. I'm not a coach in the NFL for a reason. Just and then Justin Tucker we have to talk about as well. The misses, like, are we worried? Because I'll be honest, I'm a little worried. A little worried with Tuck. I have his back. I'm not giving up on Tuck, but I am a little worried right now with his kicking mishaps. It's getting spooky.
Yeah, it is. It is. Tuck. Yeah, I mean him missing what was it like a 47 yarder and then missing like a 50 yarder last week. The struggles are real. The struggles are absolutely real. I really don't understand what it is. Some people say that it's the holding, Jordan Stout, but I don't really see that. I really don't see that, at least not consistently. I think it's just a matter of the fact that he's getting a little bit older. How old is Tuck now? How old is Tuck?
30,
What is it, 34, 35, something like that in that range? He's not too old, especially not for a
35.
kicker, but like
Yeah.
35? Okay. That's what I was thinking. But so he's not too old, especially not for a kicker. But I mean, we're seeing it right now. Like the ball's just not coming off his foot the same way. You're not getting the same sort of power. I mean, it's hooking to the left. It's got to be better. He's got to be better. It's just as simple as that, especially if the Ravens want any sort of chance going down the stretch of the season. I mean, your special teams have to be in order. They have to be in order. I mean, we saw that yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched the Commanders and Cowboys game. Special teams was just an absolutely just atrocious, just atrocious, right? So, that's got to be something, especially with John Harbaugh, something that he prides himself on. He's naturally a special teams coach. We've got to be better in that department. And specifically, Justin Tucker, he's got to make those kicks. It's just as simple as that. Now, in terms of, is it time to start shopping around for more kickers? I don't think so. I think that you give a guy a look in the draft, this upcoming draft. I think you give a guy a look in the later rounds, maybe, and just give him some competition. Give Justin Tucker some healthy competition. Bring a kid in, let him kick a couple, and just go from there. Go from there because this can only get, it can either get better or worse at this point.
Yeah.
It can only get better or worse. If it gets worse, then I think we definitely need to start shopping around. I do. But if it kind of steadies itself out and the ship kind of steadies and the storm settles a little bit, then maybe we keep that on the back burner for now.
Yeah. The good news is that we are a kicking factory. Like, look how many kickers around the league right now have been
Yeah.
here, and learned a lot here. So I'm not really too worried about us if we had to get somebody else. But when push comes to shove, game on the line, Martian's got a death beam pointing at planet Earth. I'm taking Justin Tucker for a 50-yard field goal to win the game. Um, I trust him too much. I see him do it too much. He's automatic Tuck for a reason. I don't hope. I know he'll pull it together. Uh, to me, it's not a coincidence that they've all been going the same way. Why the same way? It's definitely something he's doing. And he said, he's lined it up, and then he fixed it last week, and he hit the 150 yarder. So let's hope that's the reason, because he made his last one. So he does that same thing again. Hopefully, it's right. And but Rushier says Justin Tucker hit the upright from 50 yards out in warm-ups. Get him out the way now. Get him out the way. That he's smart. He's getting the misses out the way now. So in the game, if he's called upon, I'll make him. That's how I look at it. So we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I mean,
We're good.
listen, man,
We're good.
I'm a little worried. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little worried because look, at the end of the day, this defense has not proven to us to be locked down, right? It The only thing that this defense has communicated with the fans this season is that, hey, look, your offense is going to have to carry this team this year. And if the offense, drives stall out as they naturally do, right? We're not going to score touchdowns on every drive. We're going to need a sure-footed kicker who can hit from 50, I'd say like 55 and below, right? We're going to need that. And if we can't rely on a guy to consistently go out there and make those type of kicks, then we might be in trouble down the stretch. I mean, it could definitely show up and be a real problem in the future. So hearing this news that he just missed from 50 yards out in warmups in SoFi, not the best news, not the best news, but we're hoping for the best. Like you said, get him out of the way early. Hopefully, in the game, the jitters go away. I agree with what Ty Warrior said here. Before it says he's in his own head. He's still got it, but he's got to relax. Yeah, man,
Yep.
it's very, very hard when you are in a position where kind of like it's you're the only one who can do the job, right? And like you have messed up the job the past couple of times, right? You know you can do it. You've done it before, but the past couple of times you just don't know it. You can't really put your finger on it, but if something's just not clicking, that can really mess with your head and the psyche of an athlete, especially a kicker. A position like that is very reliant on kind of like your mental fortitude, right? And the more that you miss, the more that fortitude kind of gets broken down a little bit, piece by piece. So especially on the road in this one, the crowd's going to be loud. They're going to be calling from the miss, talking down to him and things like that. I just hope that he can kind of get back on track in this one because we are definitely going to need one. Ty says he also just hit one comfortably from the
There we go.
logo, so there you
Who's ever
go,
been more
right?
back? We're
There
back.
you go. Right, right. Okay. Thea Pennell, shout out to Thea Pennell. That's my guy there. Says he's the GOAT. He will definitely fix it. Hope so. Hope
I hope
so. Fingers crossed, exactly. That boy Diaz says, I said Zach Gore was not the right guy to replace Mike McDonald. I wanted Brandon Staley as our defensive coordinator to replace Mike. I know people think he's a bad coach, but that's head coach. I mean, in hindsight, we can all say that, Zach
yeah.
Gore shouldn't have been the right coach over Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
I know, excuse me, Alex and I personally, we were excited. I mean, we didn't really know what to expect all the way, but we did have high hopes for Zach Orr coming in as somebody who has played for this team, who has been a coach for this team, linebacker coach for a couple of seasons. We thought they would literally be like kind of like a port over from the defense that we had last year, and that just really was not the case. Zach Orr at times had troubles keeping up. That's why they brought in a senior advisor, Dean Pease, to kind of help out with that. And here we are with one of the most average defenses in the league right now. Run defense is really good, second in the league in run defense, and still dead last in the league in pass defense. So again, hindsight is 2020. All we can do is hope that this team peaks. Again, I'll keep saying it. All we can hope is that we peak at the right time. You can look back to the 2012 season, exactly 12 years ago from this season. We peaked at the right time, and that's how we were able to win a Super
Yeah.
Bowl. So hopefully that's what can happen this year too.
Yeah, we like lost like 4 of the last 5 and one against the
Yeah,
Giants, and then after that, we turned it on when it mattered most. So let's hope we can do the same thing here. Turn it on when it
yeah.
matters most. But I think before we go out, just one thing to talk about. Eddie
Okay.
Jackson is no longer a Raven. We
Yes.
signed him,
Yes.
got his release. Um, was upset that he was inactive for the Steeler game. With that being said, you played an awful game, and your playtime goes down when you perform poorly. That's kind of how it
Yeah.
goes. You see it around the league. It's not just because it's you. I wish him the best. Unfortunately, it didn't work out here. Thought he would, have a good role here, kind of the Geno Stone third safety role.
Right.
It just didn't work out. Like I said, wish him the best. And he is no longer a Raven. Number 39 is free now.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, like you said, you wish him the best. He just wasn't the right fit for this team. Seems like a little bit over the hill. Wasn't really in the right spots. Wasn't really very instinctual. As our guy, like our guy Jason was telling us on the episode we were on a couple of weeks ago. He said all these things, man, and now we see it kind of come to a head with him being released by the Ravens. So yeah, hopefully going forward, I know that Kyle Hamilton and Ardarius Washington is the primary plan at safety, and I like that. I think that Ardarius Washington is a guy who's been scrappy. He's been balling out. He plays like a Raven. He's literally the epitome of like playing like a Raven. He doesn't always make the play, right? And not everybody, nobody does, right? Nobody always makes the play, but he's always right there and he plays really hard. So shout out to our Darius Washington. And then also Kyle Hamilton also playing a little bit deeper away from the line of scrimmage. I think that that was another interesting move made by the Ravens defensive staff. Um, what did you think about that? Do you prefer Kyle Hamilton up closer to the line of scrimmage where he
Yeah.
can kind of wreck shop on these run plays and be a little bit more versatile? Or do you like him kind of
Yeah.
drop back a little bit in hunting?
I like him being everywhere and being just a chess piece, a moving chess piece, just wrecking havoc. But at the
Yeah.
same time, the one game he plays deep, we don't allow a touchdown. I don't think that's a coincidence. Um,
Mm,
with that being said, I would like for us to have that guy back there so we can allow Kyle to play, just be a thorn in another team's side. But Marcus Williams, I thought, is that guy, but apparently not. I mean, I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to, but I'm interested in seeing how many snaps he gets tonight. He had one last week. Will he have more than 5? Let's put the over under of Marcus Williams snaps tonight. The line's like 2.5 or 3.5. Like I'm not like it just is frustrating because that's $70 million that you're not playing, and that just behooves me. I just don't
yeah.
get it.
That definitely does confuse me a great deal. $70 million. I mean, I get it. You can't play him if he's a liability. I get it. I mean, it doesn't matter how much you're paying the guy. You cannot play him if he's an absolute liability on the team. Period. But it's another one of those things that's just it sucks to see. It's very disheartening. Again, the fact that we have that much money in the defense tied up into a guy who we are not putting on the football field. So I think that this defense, regardless of what happens this season, whether we win the Super Bowl, whether we don't make the playoffs, whether we make the playoffs and we fall short of the Super Bowl, things like that, I think that this defense and this defensive coaching staff has a lot of soul searching to do this offseason in terms of like what their identity is going to be, what type of players fit that identity, and what type of players kind of are expendable at this point, right? And there's going to be some uncomfortable conversations that need to be had in that locker room, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
I'm very interested to see AFC North Hard Knocks coming up
yeah.
very, very soon here. I think it starts what, this week or next week? One of the two?
Next week.
Next week. Yeah. Ugh, can't wait to see behind the scenes in that locker room. I feel like it's going to give us a lot more insight into what's going on with this team, kind of more insight than we get kind of with the Ravens media team. I think HBO is kind of going to dig a little bit deeper. They're not going to be as protective over the Ravens as much, right? There's going to be a little bit more drama that you see, things like that. And it's going to give us a lot of context on what exactly is going on behind the scenes, not only with this team, but more specifically with this defense. I want to see a lot of Zach Orr. I want to see what those guys are thinking. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'll just leave it at that. Um, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode of the show after we give one bold prediction. Alex and I are gonna give one bold prediction apiece for this Ravens versus Chargers game. I will start. I am going to go with a bold prediction here, right? I'm going to say Derrick Henry, 150 plus yards of total offense and 2 touchdowns from Derrick Henry in this one. I think that he breaks off a big run or two. I think that this is the first time in a couple of weeks that you see Derrick Henry break off of one of those big 40, 50-yard runs where guys are just kind of trying to catch up to him and maybe he scores a touchdown. But I'm thinking 150 plus yards of total offense and 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry in a close Ravens win.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go. I mean, it's not really a bold prediction, but give me Rashad Bateman 5 catches.
Mm,
Give me some clutch catches, some chain movers. Might not be that bold. I can go bold. I can go Jackson 5 bold if you want me to. I mean, I could happily do that, which I would love to see, and I think I might have to arrive. I know I said 31, but hell, give me a 38-21 at that point. Give me Jackson 5. But I just think this defense, once again, they really haven't. I see who they've played. Like I went down there. I'll pull it up right now. Like I'll go down. Here's the offense that they played: Raiders, Panthers, Steelers who beat them, Chiefs, Broncos, Cardinals, Saints, Browns, Titans, Bengals. There's not many offenses on there you can count on one hand saying, "Wow, like that's a really really good offense." There's a lot of mid on there. Um,
yeah.
Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson are in town. Mark Andrews is in town. Isaiah Likely had a big game last week. Is in town. Um, so that's it. The offense has a
Okay.
day. Offense has a
Offense
freaking
has a
day.
day.
The offense
I
has
like
a
it.
day. There you go. There's the bold
Against
prediction.
one of the best defenses in the league. I love it. I love it.
Broncos
We'll
were
see.
the best defense at one
That's
point.
true. That's a fact. That's a fact. They were one of the best defenses at one point, and we went out there and we kind of gave them the business. Um, excuse me. Before we get out of here, we do have a super chat donation. This one's coming from Asmodeus,
Ah,
dropping the two
thank
piece
you.
in the chat. Says for your McChicken needs, feed the children. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, Asmodeus. We appreciate that. The donation as always, man. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode of the show. Like I said, we are back. The Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel is back. And guess what? After the game, if you want to come in and tune into the post-game live stream, I will be here taking questions, kind of venting or celebrating or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Whatever time it is, we will be here. So come through. Come through. Dre says it's been great, y'all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Again, if you want to follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast, go ahead and do that. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def, like you see right there down below. And this guy over here, you can find him on Instagram as simply as 10.prod and on Twitter as simply as10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. You can go on manscaped.com. Listen, it's almost Christmas time.
It
Black
is.
Friday is now. They have sales on there.
Ooh.
And if you want to tack on an extra 20% off, put in the code PRP at checkout. You're going to get 20% off plus the free international shipping. on all of their products. That's right, all of the products that manscaped.com has to offer. Use our code PRP, 20% off plus free international shipping. With that being said, I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through to this pregame stream of the Purple Rain podcast. Hopefully, we have a victory Tuesday. And as
Yes.
always, stay positive, test negative. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. And never, ever, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 279 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.